Hello and welcome to Women Engage Program Season 5. I'm your host, Rose Misati. In this program, we bring real women of all ages from different walks of life to talk about real issues affecting real women. We are in Season 5. In case you are watching us for the first time, be sure to go back to our social media platforms and follow us. Watch the previous episodes. Today, I have great ladies with me, and we are going to talk about a very current issue, and that is the cost of living. Before we go into the topic for today, I want to ask the ladies to introduce themselves and tell us if they have had to make any adjustments to their living conditions because of the current cost of living. Over to you, next to me.
Thank you, Rose. Hi, my name is Joanna Tieno. I am a lawyer by profession, but by skill and training, I am a speaker and I have a podcast. Yes, in terms of making adjustments in light of the cost of living, I think everyone has been forced to do that, sadly. I've had to, tighten the budget here and there, know what to prioritize and what to cut back on, essentially separating my wants from my needs just to be able to survive.
Thank you very much. My name is Judy Nyakawa. A married mother of 3. There's a lot of adjustments going on, even as I speak today. I was just thinking the other day as I was going to put gas in my car, and I wondered, when did gas get to 15,000 Kenya shillings? When did we get to a full tank of nearly 18,000?
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
And you go to the supermarket and you pick stuff. You are paying nearly 20,000, but you can't see what you're carrying. That's the reality we're dealing with now. It's a real conversation.
Issue. And for me, I've made many adjustments over the years.
Yes.
But one I have made lately is laundry is done once a week or maximum twice. Previously, we used to wash clothes every day, but then I realized if we do it once or twice a week, again, because there are lesser people in the house and they have grown, we can do once or twice a week. That saves in terms of even the washing detergents that we use.
That is true.
And there are many other adjustments. So the cost of living, everybody everywhere talking about the high cost of living. And we will talk about how can we create extra streams of income. But before we go to that, Judy, would you like to tell us what has probably necessitated or what has brought about the high cost of living?
There are many things and many factors that are impacting the economy as we know it today. And it's not just a Kenyan problem, it's a global phenomenon. And if you look at the disruption, even the supply chain networks following the COVID season and thereafter the war in Ukraine and Russia, that has really, you can actually see, if you even go to buy stuff, you can't get what you are used to because there's a big lag in terms of delivery of products. But again, as you think about it, the weakening of the shilling in terms of the Kenyan market, that is really a nightmare for many parents. I was thinking about a parent who has a child studying in the UK, for example. Your school fees goes up overnight by 50%.
The exchange rate.
Yes, the exchange rate has really, the Kenyan shilling has taken a beating. And so it's a real issue of saying, what's going to happen here? If you think about when the cost of electricity in our country, it has gone up significantly.
Skyrocketed.
If you come home and find somebody running the oven, you're thinking, are you okay? Are you running the oven? How can you be putting on the oven, the electric oven? Because the cooker is very, very expensive now.
It's very expensive.
So that's where we are. Things are changing, and it just calls for us to be wise. As the Bible says, we need to be wise so that we can navigate this space.
That's important. And when we talk about exchange rate, I've come across one person who is celebrating because of exchange rate. And I said, this is different. I was in the gym and this lady was shouting and saying, I said, what is it? She said, my spouse is abroad. He sent me money, and because of the weakening of the shilling, it's a lot of money. I've got more money. She said, me, I'm happy. She was whispering, I'm happy when the shilling is weakening because I get more money. I said, that's different.
Unique.
That's different.
Very
it's
unique.
I'm like, you have a good problem? If at all we can call it a problem, yours is a good one. So that's critically important. And now then, talking about the current crisis and looking forward, things may not really get better.
No, they're not.
How can women prepare? Effie, how can women prepare to overcome future crises in terms of the cost of living?
So one thing I always say, it's important to learn from history. And before even we had this situation where, you know, the economy just sank, we had COVID. Yeah. And it was really bad. So most people who learned a bit from COVID learned how to develop a sinking fund or having an emergency fund. It's a very
Explain
practical
a sinking
approach.
fund.
So this is essentially where you foresee there could be maybe a decline in the economy, or just bad financial times. Sometimes you could be laid off from work, you know, things like that. So it's very important to have finances stashed somewhere to at least last you for 6 months. It should be equivalent to about 6 months of your monthly salary.
Yeah.
And I know that might be difficult because we also have an income problem, which we'll talk about later, but it's important to have that emergency fund so that in case things happen, you can go back. And one thing I actually discovered recently, there are some banks like Stanchart Bank that have a redundancy insurance. So if because people have been laid off since COVID till now, you pay some monthly amount like you do for your car in case you have an accident, so that if you're declared redundant or you're terminated on account of redundancy, then they'll be able to pay for your loans that you are servicing monthly, and it's like a monthly stipend, so to speak, for a given duration, let's say for example 6 months or for a year. So it comes in handy when there is an unforeseeable financial damage in the future. And then of course the second thing would be diversifying your income. Diversifying your income. Yes, ensuring you have some passive income. And for women, we can learn a lot of skills, you know.
And you know, we will take that up.
Yes.
Because we really need to talk about it in detail, and extra income.
Yes.
Anything, Judy, that comes to your mind when we think about preparing for future?
We need to prepare. And one of the things that we need to do is to manage our costs.
Of living.
Because that you can deal with.
Exactly.
Managing your costs.
You have control over.
You have control over your costs.
And not how,
But on the side of revenue, sometimes you're not even very sure whether you'll have a job tomorrow. So when you learn to be frugal about expenditure, you know that those of us who, when we have money, it's like it is telling us,
it's
please,
itching.
It can't sit. This must not be here.
I can't sleep in the same house with money.
No.
One of us must be
I like that one. So there are those of us who are like that. We really, and sometimes we just want brands, you know.
Brands.
You want brands. You want expensive things because somebody sees Christian Dior on my T-shirt. Wow.
Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, and those bags that have those brands. But back to the issue of insurance. I tell young parents, if you have a baby and they're turning 6 months, put them on insurance. Get them an education policy. You'll be amazed at how your child will cruise through high school, even university, without you paying a shilling. Because when you are young, the cover is very, the premiums are very low. But as the child grows, they get into 5 years, 8 years. Already, there are risks in terms of insurance. So take out insurances. Take out insurance for health. Take out insurances for your home. You never know, things can happen. But back to the issue of getting a little more money. Leverage on your own strengths. What are you good at? Are you a good cook? Can it be a side hustle? Are you a good speaker? Are you somebody who sits on boards and sits on... So that's where the money is coming in. So and for me, I want to say, now that I'm in my 50s, I'm just shocked at how retirement creeps on you.
So fast.
So fast. So when I started working, I used to hear people saying they're 50. I'm thinking, Kai, how can you be 50? What's wrong with you? How can you be in the same place?
That's so relatable.
That's me today.
That's so relatable.
Yes.
For me, I don't even go out with my friends if that money is not in my budget. If I had not budgeted for going out for dinner, I will not spend that money.
That's powerful. In your generation especially?
It's difficult.
You know, we have to, because, you know, people want to go out and have fun. So at the end of the day, you feel like you're missing out. But if you have a clear financial vision or that financial freedom that you aim for, it will be easier. And then another thing would also be just, this is as a woman, I always go to the supermarket, and the first thing, if I'm looking for tissue, I look for offers. You know, it's a very practical approach.
That's where we are now.
It's a very practical approach.
So budget and then offers.
Yes.
That's where we are.
You have to have a budget. Let's say shopping is 10,000, but I have this 10,000 for shopping. When I go to the supermarket, I have to look for where can I save. At the end of the day, I realized 2-ply tissue is 2-ply tissue, 3-ply tissue is 3-ply tissue. If you're using 3-ply, find the most affordable three-ply tissue
Some
that you
it's
can
buy
find.
one, get one free.
Exactly. It saves you for 2 months, you know. So
That is it.
you just have to learn to adopt, and then you have to evaluate your spending in terms
Evaluate your
of
spending.
understanding where do you spend most of your money, so
Yeah.
that you can know how to tame there. If it's, for example, let's say school fees. A lot of schools have been expensive now, but one thing I always tell myself, there's no point in, I live in Rongai and my child is going to school in Karen. My child, I can save on that transport cost and have my kids
Kwanza
school in
transport is a
Rongai.
big thing now.
Very expensive.
So expensive.
And,
Yeah,
they,
we
and
pay
they
a
have
lot.
to wake up very early. I go to work, I see kids at 5:30 a.m. on the road. It's just sad.
It's
So
so
you
sad.
can evaluate your spending. Where do you spend more, and can you cut back?
Can you cut back on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Judy, would you like to add?
Yeah,
any
and again,
cost-cutting
on the
measures?
issue of expenditure, back to the issue of expenditure, that's where we have control.
Yeah.
You have to be conscious about where your money is going. You know, when you track the money, you will discover that some of the money actually just gets lost in the
Yeah.
cracks. But also, because we have so many people around us who are in need, and as the feet and the eyes of Jesus, we must be able to reach out. Now, you will not be able to reach out when you yourself are running in arrears.
No.
So part of the reason why we must be conscious as believers is to live a life that also allows other people to benefit from our...
To be a blessing
Exactly.
to other people. Yeah.
So you'll find sometimes people who are, and they'll be amazed, the village woman doesn't have much, but always able to reach out and to help and to support. But you who is working in a formal setup, you have so many loans, some of which are completely nonsensical, because you want to live a life that somebody else is living.
That is not yours.
So the point I want to make there is that it's not only godly to live within your means, but also for the benefit of the people
Around you.
That's a very important thing to think
Yeah.
about.
It's a powerful
Yes,
testimony.
and when you talk about looking for offers, I'll be honest, I also go for offers now. The thing I used to say that I like this brand, I have no time for brands anymore.
It's the same.
I want to, dishwashing soap is dishwashing soap. It will wash the soap.
Yeah.
So let's get on with it.
And
right?
you know, when you talk about being the hands and feet of Jesus,
Yes.
I'm reminded that when Jesus fed the 5,000 men
Yes.
with the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they went back to gather.
Yes.
The ones that were the leftovers, they gathered and there were 12 baskets.
No wastage.
So I see like that's a lesson in terms of wastage.
No wastage.
Personally, what I've realized, I don't have to cook many dishes.
Yes.
Because previously we would have this chapati, there's rice, na
ugali.
kuna ugali hapo. Then I just realized all of them are starch.
Yeah.
Why are you having all of them?
Do
And I
starch.
remember my mother used to say you can't eat a cow and its baby. What was she saying? You can't serve beef and milk on the same table. You know, because we were
Choose
used
one.
to their vegetables, there's meat, and there's the fermented milk you're drinking as juice. She said, no, you take one, and then you can't eat a chicken and its baby. So if you're eating eggs today, it's eggs, tomorrow it's chicken.
Exactly.
So I've realized that I can minimize the dishes that I serve, and that has really saved. And even we do 2 meals a day.
That
I
is
realize we actually cook 2 meals, and nobody has lost weight. I wish we could,
Yeah.
but we haven't.
This 3 meal thing is a scam.
It's a scam. It's a scam. So that way we can actually greatly reduce.
Yeah.
There's a time I used to go, I buy 5 pairs of red shoes.
Wow.
Red. You know, this is wage.
Yeah.
This is flat.
Yes,
this is what for every
stiletto.
occasion. But nowadays I'm like, no. I have 1 pair of red. I'm not going to buy until the other one gets
It's
old.
finished.
You know, then I can buy. So it's critically important for us to evaluate, because sometimes we find we are having loopholes where we are losing this money and it's going and going. Now, let's talk about how we can make extra money on this side. Because we have talked about sometimes when we are working, we are employed, we may not have control over how much we are paid, because even institutions, employers are facing the economic crisis like we are doing, so we may not have control. Do we have opportunity for extra streams of income? And how can we do that? And I know if you already alluded to that, I will begin with you. What are the extra streams of income? And you have yourself, you have embraced, and how can we do that?
Now, this is something I'm very passionate about, and
Yeah,
whenever
tell
I
us.
get the chance to talk to my peers and my colleagues about it, you'll always find me in the office ranting about how you can make extra income. So for me, it's always, like you said, you can't control what you earn, but you can control what you make. And those are 2 very different things.
Exactly.
What you earn from your employer and what you make on the side. So having various streams of income comes in handy. For me, first thing, I'm currently working on my podcast, which is not making money right now, but it's good in terms of branding myself in the legal space and just branding myself out as a public speaker. And I've been able to get a few gigs here and there because of that. So that's one thing, investing in personal branding and actually doing something that is aligned to your skill. Like she said, if you can talk, take public speaking gigs.
Monetize it.
Yes, monetize that. And then during COVID, I actually started a snack bar. So because I was home, I was in school and we were studying online, I love cooking. I would just wake up, I make samosas, I make mandazis, I deliver breakfast. I come back, I make chapati, I make beef, I deliver lunch. And I make juice. So, and it got to a point where when my friends would have events, like, you know how Adventists have social Sundays, I would be there with my juice and my samosas, and it was good money because there are times I would make even up to like 10,000 in a day.
Wow.
So it was a very practical way, considering we did not have jobs. We were in the house. There's no formal employment at that time because I was an intern. I was still in school. So even getting a job and you can work from home is very difficult. So I highly banked on that. And then the third thing is having passive incomes in terms of where you take your money and invest in. So you can invest in government bonds, you can invest in treasury bills, you can put your money in a SACCO and you get dividends. For one, I have my money in Stima SACCO. So at the end of every financial year, there's some money that comes in. And it's, of course, it's part of my investment, but it's money that I have not really worked for. It's money that I have put my money aside to work for me. Yes. So at the end of the day, you have some money coming in that you don't have to labor so much for, wake up for a 9 to 5. So I focus on my 9 to 5, but I use my 9 to 5 to, you know, I put 10% here, I put 20% here, I put 30% here. And at the end of the day, it brings in some income. And for a rainy day, at least it's good money that I can reinvest back into something else. So just ensuring you have passive streams of income, and that calls for financial discipline. And for me, it is very hard. Okay, it's not hard because I don't have kids yet, but it's very hard in terms of missing out on what my friends are doing.
Missing out.
There's
always a price to pay even at our age, you know.
It hurts me because I see my friends with some shoes, I'm like, I really want
I need
those.
that one.
But I can't buy it because
not now.
That money, the cost of that shoe, I can put it back into my money market fund. And at the end of the day, I'll get some interest from it. So it's a matter of having financial discipline so that you can be able to generate income from extra streams.
And I hope our younger viewers are listening to you. Because sometimes when you talk to them, they think you're so old. You know, you enjoyed your life. You know, Judy, would you like to add
just to add on the issue of because now we are older and we see young people coming, your age coming into the marketplace, and somebody lands in the job and the first thing they say, "Madam, please be my referee for a bank loan." And I'm thinking, bank loan?
Are you serious?
What are you going to buy? A car with a bank loan? Really? Our younger selves need to learn to save in SACCOs. Because a SACCO is, I think, it's a very safe mode of saving. Because you put your money in there and they give you 3 times your shares. And you have guarantors who are your friends. So in a way, if you take out a loan and you're not able to pay, there's a cushion for it. But I also want to say that even as you save in a SACCO, it grows slowly at the beginning. But with the time, as the dividends come through, you will see the fruit of your labor. I just want to say that money is never enough. Money has never been enough. Even the people who do big business and the ones who do big corruption scandals, they're not people who don't have money. They have, but they still think they can have more.
They can have more.
So if we train ourselves to manage our appetites, to control our costs,
especially,
it helps. Because if you look at marriages, one of the things that just makes your marriage to tank is a bad financial culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You will fight over everything and anything and your marriage will just go south. So the issue about learning to know that money is supposed to help you, it's not an end in itself. Having a big bank balance is not the ultimate goal. But to get this money to work for you.
It facilitates.
And if you're a writer, write a book. You will get your royalties. So there are those passive income streams. There are the active ones where you're working and you're being paid. There are things that you'll be called for. People will call you for things and say they think, wow, that was very nice. And they pay you. So when you get what we call a windfall, or even a bonus in the office, what's the first thing you think about? Most of us is just expenditure. Yeah, just
going out, buying nice clothes. Have to reward myself.
Exactly. Atikupigia mwili pole. It's okay to pigia mwili pole, but again, think about the fact that if you ate a little, when we were growing up, there was a program on radio. Kula tano, weka tano. That's a good principle. Eat a half of it and save the other half. And the more you put that in your brain, then you discover even the shoes you're looking at. After 2 years, you look at them and you're thinking, why do I like those shoes? They're not even as nice as I thought.
In the first place.
Yeah. If you get into a mortgage and you have a home, you know the value keeps going up. Unlike when you're doing rentals, because that's money down the drain. A rental is just money down the drain.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of us can afford to get into mortgage right now.
But those who can afford.
Yes. But if you start thinking about it, the more you think about it, the more possible it becomes. But if it has not crossed your mind.
Yeah. You know, you remind me, I talked to a young person, maybe like Effie's age, who was working.
Yeah.
This person had a loan of about $600, yeah? That's about $6,000 actually.
Wow.
That was about 600,000 Kenya shillings.
At that rate, but now the rate
Let
is...
Let me tell you,
Yes.
you can't believe when I asked her, how did you spend the money? She said, I love good things.
Wow.
And she was buying shoes worth 15,000 Kenya shillings.
Yes.
She said, I love brands. And I asked her, how did you learn this? She said, I lived with one of my relatives who wore these brands. So that's how I knew the Clarks, the Hush Puppies, and those are the shoes I love because they are comfortable. I said, yeah, they are comfortable, I know. But by the time your relative was wearing them, she had worked for some time.
Yes.
At your age, maybe she was buying some second-hand here and there for some little money. There was a progression. But then you see now, this person got a job. They took a loan of 600,000 Kenya shillings. She bought handbags, she bought shoes and the clothes to look decent. Now she was trying to pay, and it was not easy.
She wasn't catching up with it.
She wasn't catching up with it. So I think it's critically important for us to evaluate. We can, and there's something you said that was very important. We cannot control how much we earn, but we can control how much we make. And Judy, you said how much we spend. I want us to speak to our viewers today. What would you like to tell them? Because all of us are experiencing, you know, the high cost of living everywhere, everything. What message would you like to tell those who are viewing us today?
Okay. So me, I just live by one thing. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Say it again.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Joy. Comparison.
Yes.
You're right.
The fact that I could sit here, one thing I can tell you, people have money out here. People have money.
A lot.
In as much as economies, but people have money.
Yeah, people
I see
have
new
money.
cars, model 2022
That
models
is it.
out
We
here.
see
And
them.
I'm like,
and buildings coming up.
where are
in
you
a
people
market
getting this
apartments.
money?
Yeah.
So the fact that young people, especially young people in my generation, it's a problem we have. We like comparing ourselves with people in their 50s, people who had 20 years of their career to make
to
that
wear
money.
this dress.
While I've only had 1 year of my career. We are not the same.
No,
I
we
need
are
to learn to play at my level, spend at my level, and make sure my earning is, I just live within my means. There's no, of course, for lawyers, they always tell us one thing about being a lawyer, especially a Luo lawyer, is driving a Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
It's the hallmark of a lawyer. I can't force myself to drive a Mercedes Benz now.
Not yet.
I'll have it parked in my apartment for 25 days out of 30. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
So stop comparing yourselves with people who had
Run your race.
a longer time. Exactly. It's your track. Run your race at your pace. No one is competing with you. No one is fighting you. And then just learn to prioritize your or itemize your spending. Know what demands this amount of money now. Know what doesn't demand. Because rainy days will come.
They will come.
You
and
have
they
to
do
be
come.
prepared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Judy.
Just to say, people have to learn to live their lives.
Yes.
I remember my sons, I think they're just slightly younger than you. And they would say, Mommy, is this your dream home? Is this your dream car? I said, dreams never die. Dreams are valid. But I will never, in my own estimation, try to get things that are not within my pay grade.
Yes, yes.
It's good to think about doing a holiday in Bermudas. It's a good place to go.
It's a good place to go.
But with the time, it can happen.
Time and
And you see
season
the
for
reason why we
everything.
get into these corruption deals is because people are living lives that are not theirs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're competing with faceless people.
Faceless.
Faceless people, you don't know who they are. But just because you saw a nice Range Rover sports house, somebody's driving, your neighbor has parked and you're thinking, this guy.
I can also, looks nice. Yeah.
And it puts you in a mode that is not even yours.
Yeah, yeah.
The Bible says godliness with contentment is true joy.
Contentment.
Let's learn to be content. Contentment is what will help us even with our children, with our spouses, and even with colleagues in the office. You can go to an office and you find everybody drives a Mac, for example.
Yeah.
Are you able to ask them, so you person unanunua gari mtoa wapi? You can't. They can't even tell where they got the money from. So live your life.
Live your life.
Live your life.
You know, a lady in church told me that she used to carry oranges or bananas, the fruit in season. In the office, people were carrying grapes and apples.
Yes.
And she started feeling the pressure to also be buying grapes and apples. After some time, she realized she was using the money for milk for children to buy the grapes. And
live your life.
Yeah. So let me give my closing remarks. I just want to share something very briefly that has completely changed my life. I listened to it, I applied it, it looked so simple, but my life is barely recognizable, financially at least, and in many ways. The person talked about having 5 baskets for your income. 5 baskets. It looks simple. And he said the first basket is you give to God. So for me, I call it tithe, which I put at 10%. Second basket is to charity or offering. So for me, I put 10%. You know, and then he said the third basket, not in any order, but for me, I order it that way. Third basket is your living expenses. For me, I try my living expenses to be within 20%. Okay, I live in my own home, thankfully, so that helps. 20% living expenses. Now that is the third basket. The fourth basket is for my personal self-care. Meaning I can buy my clothes, I can make my hair, buy my shoes, buy books, I love reading, and pay for my courses, 10%. Because I'm the one working, I need to also refresh myself, 10%. So that way I have spent how much? 50%. 50% is left, I save the 50%. What does that mean? By God's grace, I always have something to give to a needy person.
That is
so my children can be asking for Terrific Tuesday, and I'm telling them, no, I don't have that. But then they see me helping somebody else. They say, but mommy, you're contributing, and yet you're not buying for us. I say, yeah, because the money for living expenses is finished, but the kitty for charity, I have something. And I always put it in different places. So that way, I don't feel like, I don't mix the finances. So if for self-care is finished, I've seen a good handbag on offer. No thanks. I'm not buying it. You know, I have to live within my means. So that's what I would like to tell to the viewer listening to us today. All of us are experiencing, you know, the rising cost of living, but there are simple steps you can make, and they will change your life. And you will be comfortable, and you will be a blessing to other people. Thank you for watching us today. See you again soon.